Have you ever wanted to visit one of the most famous national parks in all the world? So famous, in fact, that last year in 2018 it had 1.2 million visitors and hundreds of thousands of foreign visitors from around the world coming to visit this great American park? Today I'm going to be talking about the Sequoia National Park. I'm going to introduce the history of the park, the attractions of the park, and the wildlife, and the efforts that are going into to protect the wildlife in the park. Now, I've been to the Sequoia National Park 2 times in my life, and I have also studied the Sequoia National Park in my schooling. I have visited the museums in the Sequoia National Parks and paid great attention as it is something you truly have to see to believe in order to understand how great the sequoias actually are. So let me start by talking about the history of the park. The park was established in 1890. It is over 404,000 acres. It is in California, in the Sierra Nevada. It stretches topographically distances a range of 13,000 feet. So from its lowest to its highest point, it'll be 13,000 feet. An interesting part about the Sequoia National Park is it contains the highest point in the contiguous U.S., which is Mount Whitney at 14,505 feet above sea level. Also, in recent times, the Sequoia National Park has been combined with the Kings Canyon National Parks, and they're kind of considered the same thing. But I'm today going to be talking about the Sequoia National Park and the attractions, the history of it, and the attractions and the wildlife in it. So, for the attractions, Sequoia National Park is known for having something for anyone. And there are also many famous parts about the Sequoia National Park. The most famous is, in fact, General Sherman. And General Sherman, if you haven't heard, is known as the highest tree in the world. It is. Oh, God. This is an error I need to fix. Golly, I didn't write down the date. I'm going to write down the date of the General Sherman. But also, in the Sequoia National Park, of the top 10 tallest trees in all the world, 5 of them are in the Sequoia National Park. And when I saw it, it was truly incredible. An interesting thing about the sequoias, the actual sequoia trees, is the bark is very soft. So soft, in fact, that if you were to even punch it for some reason, it wouldn't hurt at all. It's just like a soft foam, it's kind of fuzzy like a coconut, but it's very soft. Also, in the park is the tunnel log, and I'll show my picture of that. But the tunnel log is really famous because it was a felled sequoia tree, and you can't do it anymore, but back in the day, like in the 40s, there's a famous picture from in 1940. You would drive under the tunnel tree. It's called the tunnel tree, and it's just a felled sequoia tree that they made a tunnel out of, and people would drive through it. Also, there's the Sherman Trail, which is the most famous attraction. So it's a little under a mile, and it just goes around, and you can see General Sherman. So, as far as the wildlife, the Sequoia National Park is very famous for having lots of wildlife, and I was lucky to experience the most prized wildlife of all, the black bear. In the park, there are coyote, badger, black bear, bighorn sheep, deer, fox, cougars. There's many species of woodpeckers that you can see if you're lucky enough pecking on the sequoias. There's some turtle, there's owl, possum, snake, even wolverine, which is pretty rare, beaver, frog, and muskrat. And the bear that I saw, it was a cub, probably about 100 pounds, and it was crossing the road. The picture I got of it, unfortunately, it looked like Bigfoot. I'll show this and I'll show it in my PowerPoint if I can find it. But it was not a very good picture of the bear, but I'm going to make sure to show that. I can also show some of the pictures that I took of it, of the bear and the park. So, in conclusion, I've told you about the history of the park, the most famous attractions, the wildlife, And yeah, with this newfound information, I hope that you're encouraged to go visit the park, as it's one of the most famous parks in the world and my personal favorite that I have ever visited. Thank you.